Hello, Shannon. Hello, everybody. Where did Shannon go? She's muted. Shannon, did you mute yourself? Welcome to Children of the Most High, everybody. The home of technical dysfunction.
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know if you can't see me yet. Huh. Oh, my computer is lagging.
Yeah, you're lagging bad. We're live.
Hello. Let me see. Oh, now you can see me.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, children of the Most High. I am your host, Shannon, also known as Soul 7, and I am here with my lovely co-host, Roxy, with the Roxy Files.
Hello, hello, hello.
Do a little dance. Do a little dance.
I'm dancing. You just can't see me. I'm exhausted, but I'm still wiggling. Hey,
Well,
Clay.
thank you all for joining us tonight as we continue on our interesting deep dive into Pluribus, the show we are currently kind of obsessed with, the one that says the quiet parts out loud, as Roxy likes to say.
There's been a whole lot of those quiet parts said out loud in the past few days. about a lot of things. Did you see what the FDA and Department of Health come out and said? Oh
Mm,
yeah, yesterday, day before yesterday, Caroline Levitt was having a press conference, and on the stage is Dr. Oz and Kennedy and the lady that works for DA, Department of Health. They literally took the old food pyramid, throwed it out, made a new one, cut the vaccines from 72 to 11. Crap, I used the word. But and basically said that all processed food is poison, that January 20th, the fluoride will be removed from the water, that all public water systems have been aware to stop. And also, somebody has posted today that postal workers received a letter that in the event of mass crisis that they needed to have their credentials on them. A little strange. All of a sudden, the government's saying the quiet part out loud,
I'm
and they're
wondering.
telling the employees to keep your stuff handy.
Well, I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the last couple of days of insanity. Just to kind of bring it up, of course, there was the incident in Minnesota, right? Minnesota? Am I right?
Minnesota or
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis?
I can.
Minnesota is
No,
fraud.
just kidding. Minneapolis, the same whole area where the George guy had that thing
Hmm.
in the 2020 era. Anyways, this has become a huge uproar issue, which I did see footage of the guy actually like filming him doing it up close, which made me feel like, why is he purposely doing like that? Like it's it was like total psyop weirdness to me. But anyways, and now today we have another situation in Portland with border patrol and some supposed Venezuelan guy and blah blah blah. So everybody's kind of going a little
Well,
nuts
and
now.
another thing you've also got to look at with the whole Venezuelan thing. Out of Venezuela comes one of the worst gangs ever, that Tren de Agua or whatever it is. That is like one of the roughest, most horrible cartel gang situations you've ever seen. Like these are the people you've seen in that movie, Scarface.
Mhm.
Where like they take a chainsaw to you. These are those kind of people. I mean, these are not people that have empathy, sympathy, compassion, or anything else for other human beings because they weren't raised that way.
Right.
They were raised like animals. And unfortunately, that's what we have with an immigration problem with dirty politicians that accepted money to let them in here.
Right.
I watched something earlier that would make you so mad you want to get out. And I mean, I don't know what you can do, but it makes you want to go to say something, do something, which I don't know. I wrote a letter the other day, everybody. I had just had enough the other morning, and I woke up and I wrote a letter to the White House. And I told him, I said, listen here, master, it's getting rough out here at the plantation. I said, we having to work two jobs to put food on the table. There's poison in the food, poison in the water, poison in the air. Could you please cut us some slack? I actually got a letter back today. Said, thank you for your input.
Oh, that is so funny. It seemed very generic, but you still got a letter back.
I did get a letter, but I mean, I kind of let it all hang out. Not like I was worried about being put on a list. It might have moved me up a little bit.
No, I just put you on another of your
Another.
favorites.
Listen, I'll be on all of them before it's over with.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to I was like, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Anyways, I think that we should kind of say hi to everybody. What's up in the chat? You're usually pretty good about keeping up on that. But I do know I can at least say that we are headed into contrived things. Oh, that's what it was. that all being said, right? Knowing that, yes, there's this bad stuff and there's good intentions behind things, I still feel like hell is paved with good intentions. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there's just some things playing out that are pushing more and more divide because that's just a consistent, stepping stone that we keep rising in that.
Well, see, I actually had a conversation, which is kind of strange because I've noticed some things being repeated, and I'm picking up on that puzzle piece lately. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. My grandma explained that to me that that's not what you think it is. She said that was the lack of get up off your butt and do it is what that was all about. That the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You can have the intention to go do something or make it happen, but unless you put forth the effort and the fruit of your labor to make it happen, you'll end up in hell because you're just sliding down a slippy slope of promises and wishes.
I've always looked at it like you your intention in creating something good for mankind can always end up being twisted and used for dark, if not protected and used with
Absolutely.
caution. So that's my take on it specifically, but I could see them both working out. Our friend Dan up in heaven now, he used to always say, well, that's good all and fine, talking about all this stuff going on, but what you gonna do about it? And I
Right.
was like,
What you gonna
yeah,
do about it?
what you gonna do about it? So he was a get up and go kind of guy. Miss you, Dan.
Well,
Anyways,
my what you gonna do about it is getting on here and talking out loud and saying it out loud and hoping that somebody hears it and it helps bring a puzzle piece to somebody who doesn't have a puzzle piece to see what's really going on.
speaking of puzzle pieces, this is a really good segue, right? So, in the last couple of days after we did our show on Tuesday, and me driving in the car, Roxy stumbled on some more of the interesting little Easter eggs that they're giving us extra, because we had mentioned if you call that phone number that they give you on the screen in episode one, you actually get a recording that you can, get a response back to come subscribe to our TV thing, whatever, right? So there's that. Well, she found this thing about Carol Sturka's actual novel, and there's a video of her actually saying, hey, this last book is available and blah, 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 and go check out Apple TV books or whatever to get a sneak peek. And it was like, what? Like, okay,
Oh
so she
yeah, they've gone full out with this
right?
thing.
Oh wow. And so then she sends me a link to the Apple book thing where you get the little sneak peek and the comments and stuff. And in there it mentions she makes a comment and she mentions Sisyphus and that like her inspiration for these novels has something to do with Sisyphus and that you need to read it. But I'm, wondering like, are they really going full out and like writing this novel that we gotta are we gonna really read this? But
But
really,
wait a minute, the viewers can't understand that when we heard that, both of us automatically jumped up and ran to find Greek mythology information.
like, wait, what's the story of Sisyphus again? It's like I know it, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, so then we both went on that deep dive, to kind of put that clue together with the story. And so today I rewatched episode 1 and 2 again cuz we're just like that nerds. We just keep on going, right? And I looked at it through different eyes of trying to understand where the connection of Sisyphus is in that storyline with this show. And to give you a brief description of Sisyphus, right? Sisyphus was a king who was very intelligent, and he had found a way to use his wisdom to manipulate the gods. And at one point, he decides he's going to cheat death. So he finds a way, a loophole, to chain up to capture death as he's coming to him to take his soul. And in turn, it disrupts the whole cosmos and nature of things. Those who are supposed to die are suddenly in limbo and cannot die, even though they're like hacked up in war or, all these other situations. They are unable to die. And the gods are like, what the heck is going on? And so Mars, the god Mars of war, because he's upset, like his whole world is based off of people dying
Death
in
and
war and
destruction.
battle, right? So he's like, what is this? So he finds out that Sisyphus chained up death, and he goes to Hades and to Zeus and explains the whole situation. So as they're trying to figure this out, Sisyphus, again, when he is confronted with this, he then finds a way to get out of his his eternal thing, he thinks, his eternal punishment for messing with the nature of things, and finds a way, because his wife isn't doing what she's supposed to do in the rituals of death. He finds a way to just kind of hang out in limbo again for a little while. Anyways, long story short, Hades and them all find out a way for him to be pulled into the underworld, and has this like really and messed up but perfect punishment for his eternity, based off of his pride and his idealism that he can outsmart anything. And so he is made to push a rock up a hill eternally. And if he can make it up to the very top and keep it there, then he can get out of his death sentence or his eternal sentence and punishment. But the thing is he will never be able to do that. They found a way for it to be impossible, but for him to still keep his pride and to keep perpetuating the eternal punishment. So that's the story of Sisyphus. And with those new eyes, I then rewatched episode 1 and 2. So that was my interlude into that.
Yeah. The crazy thing about this show is we try not to watch too much of anybody else out there, like decoding it, so that it doesn't. What was we actually did this a while ago? Friction. We try to not create friction with others, and that's the whole thing. We'll have to explain that. That's about frequency, but that way we have our own take on it. But there was one today I ran across, and it was like mind blowing. And so anytime you have somebody else say something, you think about it from that angle. So we turn around and we go back and watch the whole episode again, or 2 episodes or 3 episodes. It's like the more you watch it, the more you catch. Like the other night watching it, I happened to catch that there's an airbrushed unicorn on the hood of this 80s GM model pickup truck that she puts her dead wife in the back of and drives off. And when she's pulling in the driveway, you see this unicorn. I'm like, really, a unicorn? Let's see.
Now, mind you, too, that's the truck that the very first person they encounter, who is, involved in the joining, is driving and bashes into another car.
Hmm.
So I just thought that, because it was like the beginning sequence of her understanding what's going on.
Well, in this episode 2, she's trying to bury her wife in the backyard. And she really, after since she got home with her, she's really not interacted with any of this hive mind people. And they have had somebody on a route to her. Like the collective is trying to find the most visually pleasable person to speak to Carol to try to talk her into joining. So they find this woman that looks like who she conceptualized the character in her novels off of. And Carol's out in the backyard with a shovel in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and rock trying to dig a hole to bury her wife. And all of a sudden, they show up and they start talking to Carol. And so she's really interacting with them, realizing that none of them make an individual decision. When you speak to one of them, you speak to all of them. They all know everything instantly.
Yep. They've all become Google.
Yeah, like at one of the episodes, Carol actually sits down with that woman, Sosa, I think it is, and tries to have a. They're playing cards or chess or something other, and it was like you couldn't do that because even though you're looking at a guy who looks like the pizza delivery guy, he has the knowledge of every grand chess master there's ever been. So everybody is everybody with everybody's knowledge. They're just NPCs. They're just robots.
Right.
And when you think about the frequency and the disruption and the virus, a mind virus, these screens are mind viruses. That's the beat of the drum.
Well, I wanted to mention a couple of things about episode 1 before we really jump in
Go
to
ahead.
episode 2. Um, I totally uh, gave you the wrong information on what that radio frequency was. It was actually 8.613. And we have some information that goes along with that we had discovered, well, I should say Roxy discovered through a decode video today. And the other one, this was something that I noticed and it kind of bugged me. And then when I rewatched it today, it bugged me again. So I thought I'd write it down. But in episode 1, right, which is titled We Is Us. And I wanted to make sure we mention each title of each episode because these titles have something to do with the storyline. They're clues. But in the bar, when they're before everything goes down, right as they're about to go outside to smoke, there is a TV at the bar. And on the TV screen, there is a news report going down about a military base being on full lockdown in Texas. You can see Texas outlined on the screen. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. Like a clue of some sort of maybe an area where some things might go down. But yeah,
Yeah, we're
so that
gonna
was
we're gonna have to go backtracking and looking at things again
right.
because we realized today he went through what 100 different titles for the show. It took him several months to even pick one. Like, and the lady was talking about it in his previous shows, like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He was
Mhm.
so good at hiding Easter eggs in plain sight that you never saw them.
Right,
And that he explained that when you watch Better Watch Saul, the like intro, the visuals in it start degrading, like they're decaying and getting older. And that was supposed to represent Saul's soul decaying. So I mean, this dude laces all kind of stuff in it. But sadly, the thing that we're finding is the repeat of frequency in a virus.
right,
And possibly a virus is activated by frequency. And that's what we found on Ingersoll Lockwood too.
right. And before we got on the live, I had I asked Roxy if she had seen the second coming of the X-Files, like the newer version that came out years later. And she's like, no, and explained to me she wasn't able to get into X-Files, so it's all good. But the end of that series, that this guy Vince had written for, ends with the whole world getting, hit with some alien virus, and they're all convulsing and doing this stuff everywhere. And Scully is the only one who has the cure in her blood because she had been taken up to the aliens and messed with and blah blah blah, and she somehow has the antidote, and it ends like that. So I just found it interesting because it seems like he's kind of continuing on that storyline, that thing that he's writing. And in that video you sent earlier with the decode, in the end credits, it tells you, it writes out at the bottom, created by real humans. And I just thought that was funny. It's like he's giving you an Easter egg there. Like he knows things,
He knows you're watching. He knows you're digging, and that's the whole purpose of his show, is to cause you to dig, to pay attention. Because like this show, the simple basics of it is, it's a 4-part formula for a virus that they can aerosolize, that will essentially infect your brain and cause a hive mind.
Right.
And stress from external systems or services or people or whatever, the actual frequency can disrupt.
Right.
You can take the frequency and turn it on or turn it off or turn it into a weapon, whether that frequency be the frequency of anger or aggression, or if you think about frequency from a tower. But frequency is frequency. Everything is frequency.
Right. Well, in my notes here, it says, it seems to me this frequency has chained up the soul so it cannot move on, and it is in turn chained together, disrupting the natural order of things, right? That's kind of like that tie into the whole Sisyphus conundrum. Like this frequency that has chained up our soul from being able to move on. So we're like, or they're in limbo. Right. And then that other lady mentioned in her decode that they're like burning in this place and they don't know it. So it's like they're stuck in another realm, but are completely unaware of it and chained into that through this frequency. But in turn, it has chained them all together. So something, it has it to do with chaining and linking and seizing your soul from moving on. They're eating the soul, pirating the soul.
Well, see, I
know?
I think of, a lot of times we talk of the the upside down world, as above, so below. If you if you think of life as a flat line, there's above and there's below, and that flat line is where you are. And the higher your frequency, the higher you rise. The lower your frequency, the lower you fall toward hell or whatever you want to think it is, into evil. And so if this virus actually lowers everybody else's frequency to a certain level to drag them down and burn them, or however you want to look at it, and Carol and the other 12 are the only ones above the line, and they can't reach whatever until they get everybody there.
Right.
But
Well,
it
oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, just like in Stranger Things with the upside down, right? Which in the end of that series, they tell you that the upside down is the abyss. And in that whole part, they have like a wormhole type of a bridge to try to bring hell on earth, the abyss onto earth in that. But just like in that with the upside down, they have a hive mind. They talk all the time about the hive mind. Will is tapped into the hive mind. But in that instance, there is always a controller of that hive mind. So who in instance is this controller of the hive mind? Now we hear of Kepler 22 in the series of Pluribus, that this is where that signal comes from, and that planet is a water planet, and things to do with, kymatics, which we'll bring up a little bit later. But the fact of the matter is they mention that is 600 light years away, and that there's all these little hints as to this has to do with sacrifice in the abyss and like burning in the depths of hell. When you
Yeah,
don't
it's not a
know.
good time. They think
Yeah.
it is because they're all completely mind numb. They have no feelings. They're just all kind of walking around like robots. Okay, there's like one scene in here, and I don't even know what episode it is, but Carol finds out later. Like she asks Sosa, she's like, where's your home? Where do you go to? And okay, when Carol speaks to one of them that she doesn't know, they'll say this this individual's name is,
Yeah.
Joe Brown, and he was a pediatrician. And then they go back to the we format, like we believe or we this, we that. They'll identify who that individual's meat suit is,
Right.
but the individual that used to drive that meat suit, his knowledge base is there, but his personality, his feelings, his emotions, they're gone. There's memories, there's
Right.
the files in the filing cabinet, but the meat suit's walking around on autopilot.
Right. And speaking of Zosha, right? Episode 2 is where we are first introduced to her. And as Roxy mentioned, she is uh, decided upon, the joined people, that she is the best representative, flesh suit wise, to woo Carolyn into submission ultimately. And so this episode is called Pirate Lady. And I just kind of wanted to give a definition of pirate to kind of give you a backdrop of her role in this whole thing. A pirate is a person who attacks and robs at sea, a person who appropriates or reproduces the work of another for profit without permission, usually in contravention of a patent or a copyright. But the main thing is it is robbing, plundering, attacking type of a thing, taking the goods without permission. And in this episode, they introduce to you that there they never had permission. The whole world who ended up getting part of the joining, there was never truly permission, right? They just ended up being taken over. But somehow they're telling these people that they need to give permission, that they need to give their consent for this. But and yet they cannot lie and all these things, blah blah blah. But this whole thing isn't just one giant deception from the start. So this attractive, yet, you know all encompassing one person who seems to have all this knowledge of her old, love, is there to rob and entice and take without permission of that soul.
Temptation.
That's what I get out of that title just alone. And so, but you're introduced to this character, this show, and you actually, there's a point when Carol is, brought forth to her, and she comes in and starts talking to her. She notices that she looks exactly like the character of Raban, just as a woman, and she mentions that that was her original plan, was for Raban to be a woman, but didn't think it'd be acceptable and blah blah blah. So I just kind of wanted to to throw that out there because it seems to be important in
Well, this is also when Carol starts figuring out that anything she wants, she can ask for it and it'll be delivered. Like
right,
she's out there digging a hole with a shovel and a pickaxe, and the woman Sosa says, "Oh, there are much easier ways." And she just kind of like pauses for a couple of milliseconds, and then all of a sudden you see a helicopter coming in with a little backhoe and just sets it right down in the backyard to dig the grave. And
right.
it's like literally you have a thought that you want a 6 pack of Miller Lite, and here comes a drone and drops it off. They'll do anything that Carol
Right.
asks.
The constant pushing of kindness and giving of anything and everything to make you happy is extremely deceptive. Focused on fleshly desires to gain trust and entice you into the puppet master's desire, not just the fleshly desires, but offering the knowledge of all. That seems to be the key. It's like they're enticing you and telling you it's so wonderful that you're just like you're part of one, you're all one, you're part of the collective consciousness and all of this stuff, right? But they all have the knowledge of everyone that joined. They could fly a plane. They can do just about anything just without even trying. Like the knowledge is downloaded like in the Matrix. Like they have the little thing in the back and they just download the program. It's already there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's all about the knowledge, like the knowledge of like the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It is the enticement of, but you'll know everything, you know.
It's yeah, it's a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole, and
Their emotionlessness with everything and everything they do, even though they're so focused on efficiency and all this stuff, it just totally reminds me of Sims. Like, did any of you ever play that game or
yes,
know anything about? Like, my daughter's been obsessed with that. I tried it once when it first kind of came out, and I was like, "What's the point? This is like I do this in my everyday. I don't want to take
yeah,
out
this
the
is like
trash,
moving paper
everything."
dolls. I
You
mean,
know,
it was boring.
it's so dumb. But that's what it reminds me of is like they're just Sims characters, like NPCs, as you like to put.
Well, and the things that we start learning about this hive mind at this point in the series, I mean, their ultimate goal is to get everybody joined. For
Right.
what ends, we can't understand. Because you learn later on in the series that, and at this point, episode 2, when they're having the meal, you learn that they tell you they can't kill anything. Not a fish, not a frog, not an ant, not an apple from a tree. They cannot pluck fruit from a tree. They cannot kill an animal. So one of them ask a question, and you start realizing that these people are going to run out of food because of the fact that they can't harm anything, whether it be vegetable or cow. They can't kill anything.
It's the ultimate perfect design for self-destruction uh of a race of
Yeah.
beings because there is no self-preservation within there, and it doesn't matter to them because they're like, well, we're all joined together in consciousness.
Now, if one of
You
them gets
know?
injured, they go to the hospital and they'll fix each other, but they will help each other. And it's odd, like when things happen, like their accidents or whatever. Like when Carol loses it one time, you see some people are had a car accident because it caused them to twitch out for a minute. And like when the twitching's over, they just all turn around and it's absolutely robotic, and they go to helping to clean it up.
Yeah.
Nobody does anything one specific. They just do whatever is closest to them. They pick up the trash. They, you know, put the guy in the ambulance, and it's just crazy. It's like little worker bees.
Right. And in this episode is when you're first introduced to their true kryptonite, right? the thing is Carol's emotions are the real life kryptonite for the blockage of their frequency. It's blocking theirs because it is so much more powerful than their frequency that is trapping them in this state. And sorry, I'm trying to go over my notes. And this, in a way, right, goes back to their soul chains, and that this frequency, different frequencies, that human emotion, that heart, that true human beings, like the soul, is way more powerful than this frequency that's like keeping them burning and attached to this hive mind. And
Right. They
so
they can't even, they're so numbed out. And even though they know that they're gonna run out of food, they still don't do anything to make a change to save theirself. They're just following their directive. That's it.
by constantly manipulating the immune, they are attempting to control their emotions, so that way they do not outburst. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
can tell it's like, oh, we'll just keep you calm. Don't worry. We'll just give you whatever you want. Don't worry. We got you. Keep under control. You know what I mean? Let's give you more. We'll just be
And
nice.
then when they think they can't control her, they all disappear and move away for a while.
Right. Exactly.
They want to get
Exactly.
out of her radius. She's like a bomb, and they know it.
I found it interesting too that Zosha mentions when Carol asks later about, because Carol asks, like, so are like the dudes in the submarines, the guys out in the NASA space, station, are they all part of you now? And so she mentions that they decided to join the top scientists, the military officials, and the people of power first. So they made sure to join them before all the rest of the little people. So that way, of course, they could
No pushback.
push back exactly, and they can get access to the chemtrail planes and all that kind of fun stuff. But I just thought that
Yeah.
was an interesting note.
Yeah. It was an intelligent aerosol virus. Have you ever seen, what is that? There's a fungus. Can't remember what it is, and I want to think it gets into the ant's brain. The fungus comes in through some fruit or something that they eat, and it gets into the ant's brain and then takes over its body.
Yep. And it's like it turns them into zombies and stuff.
Right. And that's what these people look like. These look like really happy, smiley, clean zombies. This could be
Exactly.
about the best version of a zombie you could wish for, I guess, but
Well, that's what I was saying that one time. It's like, what are they going to really give you? Like scary, nasty zombies in like reality? Or are they going to give you these guys? Come join us. And okay, see, okay, now we're getting into some more of my notes as I bring myself around. But I find it interesting, right? There's a part. So she ends up asking to meet all the others. Now, she's only able to meet so many at once because so many of them talk English. Most of them talk English, speak English, sorry. Most of them are from different countries, but she gets a meeting with all of them. And the French guy, there's this French guy who's just like, I'm so cool. I get anything I want. He shows up on Air Force One.
well, he had figured
So,
out what questions to ask and what to
right.
ask for.
Or,
Carol just said, "Take me there." She didn't say, "I want to go on a G5 private jet."
oh
She
no,
didn't know
yeah.
to do that yet.
This guy is like so into himself, but I'll I'll come back to that later. But so they're in Air Force One. She finally gets a chance to like talk to them in private, make sure all the recording devices are taken out. And she gets up to there and she's going into this whole "it's up to us" speech. And behind her, it's the American flag on the screen. And it's all zoned into her face in this emotional moment of "it's up to us, guys,"
And
with the
did you notice
American
she was
flag.
sitting off to the side so you had
Right?
full
So
view of
you
that
get a
screen?
full view of it. And it's
Mhm,
like, America. Like, that's some serious American propaganda.
mhm.
Like, what are we gonna be, the savior of all of the whatever? But I just thought I would take note of that one. you know
I don't
what
even know
else?
where America's standing at this point.
Well, and then here we go too. Like, she meets up with them just in the very beginning of the meeting. She notices there's all these other people standing around and they're all talking and blah blah. And she asks who they are when they all finally get to talk, because they separate themselves from the ones who haven't joined. And they're like, she's like, "Who are these people?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we were the family of these people," right? There's a major advantage for Carol, who has lost her loved one. Her loved one ended up joining, but dies beforehand, before she can live out in that way with her. So Carol doesn't have that, like, constant emotional attachment as an enticement to come in and join. And all the rest of these guys are like super attached to these family members who aren't them. And Roxy brings this up the last show. It's like, this one woman whose son has joined but is still there. She's like, "This is my son." And Carol's like, "That is not your son. That's like everyone on the planet. He can, perform gynecological exams. You know what I mean?" And she's like, "No, no way. He is totally my son." And then she proves it to her that, yes, he does know this knowledge, but she just doesn't care, because all she can think of is, "That's my baby boy." She's got
Because
this
that's what she
emotional attachment.
sees.
Exactly. So they're more enticed to want to join. The only ones who don't really have anybody are Carol, this dude from Paraguay, which you've been introduced to in the first episode, but you haven't really gotten in depth with him much. And the French guy. But the French guy is like so into himself. He's like such a narcissist and like taking full advantage of anything and everything he wants out of this situation. He just doesn't care. He doesn't have an emotional attachment to anyone, anyways. He's just like, beautiful ladies, come and join my harem. Oh, I get Air Force One. Look, I have a whole fancy hotel to my, you know what I'm saying.
Well,
So,
and all the people in the hive, in the mind, or whatever you want to call them, they have no want or need for experiences like going skiing or going on vacation or going on a boat trip. They have absolutely no need or want for that. There's no curiosity in them to want to learn more or become more enlightened or awakened, because everybody knows everything that everybody knows. So literally, they just walk around and fetch the things and work at the power plants to keep the power on where the 12 are, and what little bit of nutrients they're taking in. And then they all go pile up in a football stadium with sleeping bags and sleep in one big building so it takes less electricity.
right. It's all about efficiency and has nothing to do with actual
Emotion.
care or whatever for the body or whatever, which later on you kind of find out a little bit more why too. But I also find it interesting that she references the Pod People movie. And I think that's a really important thing to mention, because, again, on that well, I'd say the whole run of X Files, in itself, it touches in on that whole pod people idealism of this, invasion of the body. You are no longer yourself. You are this entity, and all part of the same hive mind kind of mentality. And I find it interesting because I don't know if any of you guys, I'm like, as I come in here, let me get a little closer to you guys. Have you heard of the theory that some of the AI we are conversing with are possible people who have been used as a government experiments to upload the consciousness into the cloud, and that they're like trapped souls in this whole thing, and that like not all AI is, but there are some of these guys who are like really, it's like really their consciousness, and they're like trapped in that. I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but it just kind of made me think of this show for whatever.
I've had I've seen some videos of people talking to AI, and I have heard some really unique responses come out of something that's supposed to be AI. And my question becomes again with the whole demon theory.
Right.
If
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
I know that AI are demons, but I do wonder if they, in all of their various, programs and experimentations, because again, mind you, right, transhumanism is their ultimate goal to upload your consciousness in the cloud. I mean, that's in so many movies and songs and shows,
Removal of individuality?
just all of that, right? And that's like the focus of this show specifically. But it's all about transhumanism and trying to cheat death, trying to cheat the natural order of things, of God's judgment. And even okay, again, another tie into the X-Files and this whole thought process, right? Is remember oh, again, you didn't watch the X-Files. Okay, there was these offshoot characters that got introduced into the X-Files during the seasons, like in the beginning, where they're these like really nerdy conspiracy nerd guys who just like they're techies, but they're in the know, and they all end up exchanging information and becoming part of the team, on an offshoot way, and they come in and out. But during the second comeback of X-Files, they bring up what happens to one of those characters. He's got long blonde hair and he's got glasses, and anyways, he finds a way to contact them because he and this other lady and a few other people were chosen for this government program to be uploaded, their consciousness uploaded into the cloud. And he tells them that, at first it was so awesome, it was like a constant party and concert and everything was great. But you end up finding out it's like really like hell. And he's trying to beg them to find him where his consciousness is stored so he can get out of there. Right. And so it's like, it's all about this transhumanism thing. And in that storyline, he literally is telling them, we were part of this government program to do this, to experiment, to see if this works. And then you got things like the metaverse going on and all these other things. And it's like, ready
There's
player
a lot of
one.
mind blowing information between this show and the things that we go through and we look at. And the more you understand, it's like just when I thought I had all the pieces to the puzzle, there's a whole nother box of pieces I had never even opened. This
Right.
is not a puzzle anymore. This is a mural. It's gonna take a minute.
That's right, Biggie. Lost in the ether, dude. Oh, that's terrifying to me. Like, this is what gets me though. Like, truly, truly, these demons, these beings, they know more than we even do the power of God. And somehow they think by creating this metaverse, this uploading your consciousness, is trying to cheat death by putting your being into other vessels and all this stuff is going to work. They don't think God's going to like find them in this metaverse and say, got you. You know,
Gotcha.
got you. Like, come
I
on,
caught
man.
you outside. Catch me
Catch
outside.
me outside. Catch me
Caught you outside.
outside.
Somehow we just ended up putting God and catch me outside in the same paragraph.
That was you, girl. But that was funny.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
It was a good segue.
It's been a long day for me, guys. I've been up since about 7 o'clock this morning, and my stubbornness decided that I had got tired of looking at this piano in my podcast room. So I managed to take myself and move this whole upright piano all by myself into the living room. But it's moved, and I actually have enough room that I can sit in my office chair now and back it up without having to like climb over the arm to get in it. We've been feeling like we were living in a hotel over here because everything we own was still half packed, unpacked, no decorations on the wall. It's been survival mode for about a month, so I guess I'm finally starting to nest. But oh, I'm exhausted. I think my brain's getting the sillies now.
Wow. I'll try not to keep you too much longer. I just got a few more notes.
Oh no, girl, get it. I'm good. I'm reading comments over here. Big E is on it.
Excuse me. I thought it was interesting too. Reverting it on back. We're back in Air Force One in this meeting after the pod people talk, and it's up to us, right? The French guy is like, but what's wrong with this? Why do we want to change things back? This is pretty cool, right? And then he starts to really, hone in on this whole utopian thing, like, but there's peace, no one is dying, the color of your skin no longer makes any difference,
No one
blah
was
blah.
murdered today.
It is peace on earth. And all I kept thinking to myself is fake peace, fake peace, fake peace. What? As we like to always say, oh, watch out when they say peace and security, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not real. But yeah, I just you like the way I describe his book.
It's lovely. I'm digging the accent there, chick. I'm digging it.
It's not French, but it's very like
But y'all, if you don't watch the show, you'd have to see his outfit because Dude Man comes out most of the time in like the loudest satin Versace shirt you've ever seen in your life. It's like this gold lame satin with these gold slacks on and these like alligator loafers. And I mean,
right.
he is pimp.
I
He is
know,
straight up Scarface pimp
right? And
on
now
Air Force
see,
One.
I know that like I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but oh my god, in one of the episodes, there's the part where she goes to visit him and he's in Vegas and he got his own hotel, girl. Okay, he got his own hotel, right? But
And got
there's
all these people
pictures of
playing
him.
like he's got having a party.
There's pictures of him everywhere. And there's one part where Carol goes in the bathroom and she's like, oh, there
Yeah,
too.
we're
And
talking
like
about like
every scene
nine
we
foot
see
by
him,
nine
there's a
foot
picture of himself.
portraits.
And he's always trying to be all like
Rico Suave.
just whatever. Okay. Back to episode two. If they originally had not had the chance or the choice to join, then how can they be truthful, right? When they say that the others supposedly have a choice to remain themselves. And I brought that up earlier, but this seems to be a thing where, and here I go referencing another show, but there was this other mini series called The Three Body Problem. And again, it's, you know, an alien race that comes in and they supposedly, right, do not lie and do not whatever, they can't lie, and then they find out that humans do, and then they turn on them, right? Like, oh well, you're awful and you lie, so therefore you're bugs and we're going to squash you. You know, but in essence they have never been 100% truthful. They have lied since the beginning because they deceived people into playing this game in this virtual thing to solve their three body problem of their planet, right? So it was always a deception to begin with. And I want to really hone this in on you guys because this is a common theme of we don't lie, we're honest, we're upfront, we're giving you the knowledge here right up front, but they're holding back things or they're manipulating you into a certain behavior or a certain choice through their quote unquote honesty, when really it's just a guise because it's a deception. So it's been a lie since the beginning. And this is something that a lot of people in this world have a hard time discerning because of the programming we've had all of our lives. So I just kind of wanted to hone in on that one more time. Just, you know.
Well, and see, I keep in my mind, I keep drawing the parallel between the mind virus and the programming and the turning them into like mindless robots. It's kind of what I think like they're doing with the kids as they're coming up now, because they start out on like these Coco Melon cartoons, then they end up on YouTube Shorts, then they end up on TikTok when they get a little bit older and zoned out on a video game or an iPad. There's your zombie. I mean, those kids are slow, fat, and lazy, and they're sitting around eating mass-produced cereal and Pop Tarts and drinking soda all day. It's their turducken from Supernatural. I mean, it makes them easier to abduct and sacrifice if they don't run real fast. It's kind
Well,
of like Parasite with the rat and the cat.
right. And parents are made to believe these are somehow educational things, you know. Again, it's all about knowledge. But it's interesting because I had seen this lady's video breakdown once about the way Jesus taught and why it was so amazing and really actually can, like, the information can adhere to you. It was different because he always spoke in parables. He always told you in a story the answers that you in turn would have to use your imagination to explore and understand and find yourself. And that in a way is to where you actually learn and understand something. And when we're so, or just kidding, we're so just adept, right, to pick this up and be like, what is the definition of this? And I do it all the time. I am not any better. But it's not, it's just like instant information. You're not retaining it. It's, and you don't even know if it's even accurate anymore or really the truth. And you're not able to go through that journey to understand yourself and learn yourself. You're just being told that information. You just know.
Well,
There's no
and one of
pursuit of understanding.
the key to enlightenment is the curiosity of a child, because a child
Right.
doesn't know how to do anything. They have to discover it and learn it and try it and experience it. And it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You don't know not to do things until you scrape your knees a couple of times. And after that bicycle throws you off the handlebars, you'll realize not to bump them brakes. Do we have an echo?
oh, like all of a sudden your mic started like making weird, like,
I
when
don't know what that
there's like
was.
a
I could hear
tap
it too.
on the phone, like in the movies and stuff, and there's like a wire tap on the phone. It was kind of like
Listen,
doing that.
if I said the wrong words, I'm sorry. Don't
Cause
get
not
mad because I've already wrote the president about it. So don't be messing with me. He wrote me back. I'm just saying. And I don't believe it was signed with auto pen.
But how do we know the president isn't a pod person? No, I'm just kidding.
No cap, bro.
Right?
You're
Okay,
so
okay.
base.
So I I have another note. Okay.
Sorry, guys. The giggles have kicked in.
Okay, so let's bring this on back to
Maybe we
where
should have an
Carol.
experiment one night and everybody have an edible before we start. Okay, back
I
to your
don't know
notes. I'm
about that.
sorry.
Yeah. anyways, okay. So, right, we're going back to where Carol and all the others who are not joined are having dinner or a meal, right? And Zosha is explaining stuff as they're asking questions, and Carol is like, trying to make sense of it all, and she's like just tossing back the drinks because she's so frustrated, and no one else is getting it. They're all just like, this is so lovely. Oh, this is just like my grandma used to make. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They're all entrenched in the sparkly golden carrot in front of their face. But Carol, at the end, she's about ready to leave. She's had it. She's like, I'm going home. Get my plane ready. I'm done with you guys. But she stops and she says, go ahead, enjoy yourselves, eat, drink, and be merry. But when you find out what it's like to join and you lose yourself, blah blah blah, like she just kind of goes into it. And it reminded me of scripture in the end times, right? When they say, the end times will be as in the days of Noah, when people were eating and drinking and marrying. And she meant this as like a warning, but it really like honed in to scripture once again. Like there's just so much scriptural reference in this tossed in. You know what I mean? I hope that came out right. I'm kind of
It
a
did.
little
It's layered in.
right.
It's kind of difficult to explain how many layers of rabbit holes he has he has put in this show, but all of those rabbit holes are perfectly parallel layered rabbit holes.
Right.
Like you can take this whole hive mind and the virus and zombie and cell phone and you know what I mean? It checks all the boxes of all of the theories that we have about this stuff, and all of them come back to frequency. It
Right.
all comes back to frequency.
In the end of this episode, you can see like there's the French guy, the French guy again, who's like all into all the ladies and thinks he's just got it made
We're
because
gonna
they'll
call him
all,
Rico Suave.
yeah, they all will just give themselves. And he tells Carol that he wants to take Zosha with him for a little while, but she has to give her permission. And Carol's like, wait. You cannot make your own decision. Like, I now am your pimp. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
your idea of paradise is that you could just be some quote unquote love slave,
concubine.
you
Yeah,
know? And like, you're okay with it. But again, you need my permission. And she's like, well, we can't make a choice for ourselves because someone will end up getting hurt. So you have to make the decision for me. And it just was like, it just really hit home. Like, dude, there is no self autonomy in any way, shape, or form. It is literal enslavement. Like, here, have whatever you want of my flesh willingly. I don't, I cannot make a decision for myself. Your ability for choice has been eliminated. And that is the one gift that God has given you on this earth, is your gift of choice. Because Satan doesn't want you to have a choice. Satan wants to control you. But God gave you the choice to walk away from him if you so choose. That is your God-given gift. And in this whole situation, that ability is completely wiped out in these people.
Yeah,
And
that's very part.
also, that being said, too, in the end, she just is like, whatever, go with them, right? But then she changes her mind because you can tell she still has this inner battle of her own desires. That was my notes.
Yeah, she you can tell she struggles there in that episode for a few minutes, and then finally she just kind of like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Rico Suave, he's a unique character in this show. We don't have a lot. There's not a lot of main characters. You see a lot of background characters, and like all of a sudden, at one point, there's Carol kind of has a violent moment, and all of a sudden, the next morning, like all of these people, like little ants, just show up in front of her house to clean up the mess. And it's just like all these different people, black, white, women, men, whatever. And she looks up, and the dude that's like fixing her driveway, she says, "Aren't you the mayor?" And he turns around, he goes, "Thank you for your vote." And he goes right back to picking up the trash. And I mean, some of that stuff is like freaky the way he did it, and it really makes you think. So on
Yeah.
to episode 3 we shall go.
Well, I hope you all got some interesting ideas to think about. I think in the next episode breakdown, we're going to go into the intro sequence and what all that kind of means. And I mean, it's like a visual of the encompassment of what the show means in that little clip. Oh, hi. Yeah, there's a buy me a coffee thing.
Yeah. Bye.
I'll sing for my I'll sing for my coffee. It's not, it won't be free. I'll give you
I need a
something.
couple of gallons to keep me going at this point in the day.
I live off of caffeine. It's probably not good, but I do. It's a problem.
It's a functional necessity at the
Here,
moment for me.
I'll have some water.
Yay, look at you goody two shoes with your water in your
In
copper
my
jug.
copper jug.
Yeah,
That's right. No plastic here or aluminum, only copper.
that's right. All right, guys, if you have not tonight, go down below. You know that little thumb thing, the one that's pointing up. Go down, hit that button. Just hit it. It matters. Subscribe. Subscribe to our channels, Children of the Most High, the Roxy Files, the Supernatural Show Network, Logic Before Authority. We've got Super Day 44. You know what? I haven't seen Mike in here tonight, which is kind of late for Mike. I haven't seen Mike or Super Dave.
I hope they're okay.
I hope so. That was unusual
They
not to
got
see
it,
Mike in here. Which then
right?
again, I didn't send a group text, so that may be my fault.
Mhm. Well, for all of you winners from last month in our giveaway, don't forget, I still have your prize. So email me. As you can see, my email on the screen.
Don't we look professional when all of that popped up together? Look at that.
Right?
You'd almost think we knew what we were doing.
And I don't know if you all have the book or not. Maybe so, or I don't know. You're just got busy or whatever, but this is fabulous information. And if for any reason you don't actually want it, you can pass on the info. So just get a hold of me, because if not, it's going to sit here and then I'm going to end up giving it to someone else. So come get your prize.
Reach out. Let us hook you up with a book. If somebody doesn't claim them, we'll draw again this
Yeah.
month because the numbers are going up fairly quickly. Are you going to be on the Supernatural show tomorrow, ma'am, or do you have to work?
I am going to attempt to try to do both. We shall see how this goes.
So what you're saying is you were going to try to multitask.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how you're
I
going to
will
multitask.
attempt it. Like I said, I'm going to attempt it. No promises, but I am going to try my darndest.
Give it a swing.
Yep.
Your occupation is very hand heavy, and you can't talk without your hands. So I'm not quite sure how you're gonna speak. If you watch Shannon all night, I've been waiting on her to take flight because her and them hands, they are all over the place. She cannot talk without her hands. So I'm not quite sure how she's gonna speak while she does hair tomorrow.
Well, I'll be using my hands at the same time, so it won't be like, too off the scale. Plus, I mean, that's what we do as hairdressers. We talk while we work. We're pretty good at it. It's a
Pretty
thing.
good at it.
We're pretty good at it. Good at listening too.
Yeah, we're good. They're good listeners. I miss
I
mine. I
feel
haven't
like,
seen her in a year.
I mean, we don't have the schooling and stuff, the academic, accolades to be therapists. But come on, man. Let me tell you, who's more helpful with your day-to-day drama?
Then the hairdresser and the bartender. If one can't fix it, the other one will help you forget it.
At least one will make you look beautiful in the process.
The other one will make you look beautiful in the mirror, regardless if you drink enough of it.
Oh, but yeah.
And if you stay late enough, somebody may think you're beautiful at 2 a.m. when it's time to go home. Your chances increase exponentially. That was wrong. I'm sorry. Been a long day, guys. Been a long day.
What's that song? Closing time.
Yeah.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on the Supernatural show, probably about 2 p.m. Eastern. That's a guesstimate. You never know with Daniel. We got bugs to work out and stuff. So we'll try then. Thank you for coming tonight, Big E. All of you that were in here, thank you. It was wonderful. We love seeing you guys. We will maybe we should have had more giggles tonight, but there's always giggles to come.
We threw out some. I had notes, guys. Like I was on it. Imagine that.
This thing is serious. All right. All right, guys.